The dining room fell silent when Mom slammed her coffee cup down, the sound echoing off the hardwood floors. My sister Jennifer sat beside her, arms crossed tight against her chest, while her son Tyler smirked from across the table. My 12-year-old son Marcus stood frozen in the doorway, clutching the iPhone box he'd opened just minutes ago. "Your son doesn't deserve that birthday party," Mom said, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. "Not after embarrassing your nephew like this. Not after showing such terrible character." I looked up from my laptop where I'd been reviewing client reports. "What happened?" Jennifer leaned forward, her voice dripping with indignation. "Tyler asked to borrow Marcus's new phone for the school trip next week. A simple request. Marcus refused. Flat out said no. In front of all his cousins at the park. Tyler was humiliated. It was a graduation gift," I said quietly, keeping my voice level. "For finishing 6th grade with honors. Straight A's all year." "Tyler's phone is 3 years old," Mom interjected, her tone suggesting this was somehow my fault. "The screen is cracked. The battery barely holds a charge. Marcus could share for 1 week. Just 1 week. But no, your son had to be selfish. Had to show off his brand new expensive phone while Tyler suffers with a broken one." Marcus's eyes were getting wet. I could see him trying to hold back tears. I caught his gaze and gave a small shake of my head. "Not worth it. Don't give them the satisfaction." "The party is in 2 weeks, Jennifer added, warming to her topic. "You've been planning this big backyard thing for months. The whole family's invited. 60 people, you said. Catered food, DJ, the works. But honestly, after this behavior, does Marcus really deserve that kind of celebration? Shouldn't there be consequences for being so selfish?" I closed my laptop slowly, the click sounding loud in the tense silence. "What do you suggest?" "Cancel it," Mom said flatly. "Cancel the whole thing. Teach him about generosity. About family coming first. About thinking of others before himself. Maybe next year, when he's learned some values, he'll have earned a proper party." My son's face crumpled. I'd spent 3 months planning his 13th birthday celebration. 60 guests. Catered food. A local DJ. Professional photographer. The works. "I see," I said. "Good," Jennifer smiled. "I'm glad you're finally setting boundaries with him." I stood up. "Marcus, go pack your room, please." He looked confused but nodded and left. I heard his bedroom door close. "Pack." Mom frowned. "We're going away for a bit," I said. "I need to make some calls." I walked out before they could respond. In my home office, I pulled up my laptop and opened the travel folder I'd been quietly building for months. My fingers moved across the keyboard, confirming reservations I'd made weeks ago. The timing was actually perfect. That evening, I sat Marcus down in his room. His eyes were still red. "Are you mad at me?" he asked quietly. "For keeping your own gift?" I smiled. "Never. But we're not doing the backyard party." His face fell. "We're doing something else instead," I continued. "How do you feel about Tokyo?" He blinked. "Like, Japan, Tokyo. 2 weeks. Just you and me. We leave in 3 days." "But that's expensive," he whispered. He'd always been conscious of money, even though I'd shielded him from most financial discussions. "Let me worry about that," I said. "You worry about packing. Comfortable shoes. Your camera. Your passport is already current." His smile could have lit up the entire house. The next morning, Mom called. "Jennifer told me you actually canceled the party. I'm proud of you for following through." "Thanks, Mom." "So what are you doing instead?" "A small family dinner." "Something like that," I said. "We'll be out of town." "Where?" "Just a trip. I'll send pictures." She didn't sound satisfied, but I ended the call. Jennifer texted an hour later. "Heard you canceled. Good parenting. Maybe we can do something small for Marcus when you get back from wherever." I didn't respond. 3 days later, Marcus and I boarded the flight from Seattle. I'd booked business class. He'd never flown anything but economy. His face when he saw the lie-flat seats was worth every penny. "Mom, this is too much," he whispered. "You graduated with a 4.0, I said. "You volunteer at the animal shelter every weekend. You've never asked me for anything you didn't need. This isn't too much." "This is exactly right." 14 hours later, we landed at Haneda Airport. The exhaustion from the flight melted away the moment we stepped into the arrivals hall. The car service I'd arranged was waiting, with a professional driver holding a sign bearing our names. Marcus's eyes went wide at the black Mercedes sedan, gleaming under the airport lights. Our hotel was in Shibuya, the heart of Tokyo's energy. I'd chosen the Park Hyatt Tokyo, perched high above the city, the same location from that old movie Marcus had watched with me. The suite had floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the sprawling metropolis. 2 bedrooms, each larger than our living room at home. A marble bathroom with a soaking tub that could fit 4 people. A living area with couches soft enough to sink into. "This is like a movie," Marcus breathed, pressing his face to the glass as he watched the city lights stretch to the horizon in every direction. We spent the first 3 days exploring like locals. Sensoji Temple with its massive red lantern and clouds of incense smoke. Harajuku's wild fashion streets, where Marcus photographed everything from gothic Lolitas to businessmen in perfect suits. The Pokémon Center, where Marcus nearly lost his mind, surrounded by 3 floors of merchandise he'd only ever seen online. I let him pick restaurants from a carefully researched list I'd been building for months. We ate everything from conveyor belt sushi, where plates cost $1 each, to a tiny ramen shop that seated exactly 8 people and had a line around the block. On day 4 we took the bullet train to Kyoto, watching Japan blur past at 200 miles per hour. I'd booked us into a traditional ryokan nestled in the hills outside the city. Marcus experienced his first onsen, the natural hot spring bath that required getting over his initial shyness about communal bathing. He learned to sleep on a futon laid directly on tatami mats, the scent of fresh straw filling the room. He wore a yukata to dinner, the cotton robe making him feel like he'd stepped into another century. The kaiseki meal had 17 courses, each one a tiny work of art. He tried everything, even the sea urchin that made his face scrunch up before he admitted it was actually interesting. "Best birthday ever," he said quietly as we walked through the Fushimi Inari shrine the next day, surrounded by thousands of vermilion torii gates snaking up the mountain. The orange tunnels seemed endless, each one donated by a business hoping for good fortune. "It's not over yet," I smiled, thinking about what I had planned for the coming days. Day 7 back in Tokyo, I'd arranged something special that had taken weeks to secure. A private sushi experience with a master chef who'd trained for 30 years under his father, who'd trained for 30 years before that. Just the 3 of us in his tiny restaurant in Ginza, hidden down an alley you'd never find without directions. 8 seats total at the cypresswood counter. Marcus watched in complete silence as the chef explained each piece in careful English. The fish sourced that morning from Tsukiji, the rice temperature calibrated precisely to 98 degrees, the exact amount of wasabi ground fresh from the root. "Your son has excellent taste," the chef said in careful English. "He appreciates the details." Marcus beamed. That night, back at the hotel, I finally posted a picture to social media. Just one. Marcus standing in front of the Shibuya crossing at night, all the lights blazing behind him, the biggest smile on his face. The caption was simple: "Worth canceling the backyard party." My phone started buzzing within minutes. The notifications were relentless. "Jennifer, how could you do this? After everything we talked about." "Mom, call me immediately. We need to discuss this situation." "Jennifer again, that's a $10,000 trip at least. Probably more. You spent that on him after what he did? After he refused to help family? Then my brother David, who usually stayed out of family drama. Did you seriously take Marcus to Japan? Mom is losing her mind. She called me 3 times already. What's going on?" I turned my phone to silent and ordered room service. Marcus and I watched a movie with Japanese subtitles we couldn't read and ate overpriced club sandwiches that still somehow tasted better than anything back home. The beef was different. Even the tomatoes tasted better. The messages kept coming. I checked them the next morning over coffee while Marcus slept in, jet lag still catching up with him. "Jennifer, this is ridiculous. You're spoiling him rotten. Teaching him that being selfish gets rewarded. Tyler is heartbroken that Marcus gets this amazing trip for being mean to him. Mom, we need to talk about your priorities. This is not how you teach children values. This is not how we raised you. Your father and I are very disappointed. Dad, surprisingly, looks like you two are having fun. Stay safe. Send more pictures when you can." "Aunt Linda," Jennifer showed me the picture. "That hotel looks expensive. Very expensive. Are you sure you can afford this? I know single mothers have it hard. You shouldn't be spending beyond your means. I responded to none of them. Let them wonder. Let them stew in their assumptions. Days 8 through 10 were Disney Sea, Team Lab Borderless, and a day trip to Hakone, where we saw Mount Fuji perfectly clear against a blue sky. Marcus took 300 pictures. We rode the pirate ship across Lake Ashi. Ate black eggs boiled in volcanic springs. Stayed in another ryokan with private hot spring baths. Mom, Marcus said on the train back to Tokyo, why did Grandma want you to cancel my party? I'd been waiting for this question. She thought I should punish you for not lending your phone to Tyler. But it was mine, he said quietly. You gave it to me for graduating. I know. So why didn't you tell her that? Because some people don't want to hear the truth, I said. They want to hear what makes them feel right. And I decided I'd rather spend my energy on you than arguing with them. He thought about this. Is that why we came here instead? Partly. Mostly because you deserved something special and I wanted to give it to you. This must cost a lot. I smiled. Marcus, there's something I haven't told you about my job. He looked curious. You know I work from home doing consulting, right? He nodded. What I actually do is advise luxury travel companies on customer experience. I've been doing it for 8 years. The companies I work with pay very well, and they give me significant travel benefits as part of my contracts. His eyes widened. This trip, the flights, the hotels, a lot of it, is comped because of my relationships with these brands. The Park Hyatt, I consulted for them last year. The ryokan in Kyoto, I helped them redesign their international guest experience. They've been asking me to visit and review the changes. So this is like work for you? It's both. I get to travel with you and provide feedback they value. Win-win. But you never told anyone in the family? They never asked what I actually do. Mom thinks I work customer service from home. Jennifer assumes I'm barely making ends meet. I never corrected them because it didn't seem important. Until now. Until they tried to tell me what my son deserves. The last 4 days were a whirlwind. We did a cooking class where Marcus learned to make real ramen from scratch. Visited the Ghibli Museum. Spent an entire day in Akihabara, where he found vintage Pokemon cards. I bought him every single one he wanted. On our final night I took him to the top of Tokyo Tower. The city spread out below us like a carpet of lights. Thank you, Marcus said quietly. For all of this. For not being mad at me about Tyler. You have nothing to apologize for, I said firmly. Your phone was your gift. You earned it. Nobody gets to tell you that you have to give away something that belongs to you. Not Tyler. Not Jennifer. Not Grandma. Nobody. But their family. Family doesn't mean you owe them everything you have. Real family celebrates your success, not demands you share it to make other people feel better. He hugged me tight. I love you, Mom. I love you too, kiddo. Happy birthday. We flew home the next day. I'd posted 3 more pictures throughout the trip. Each one generated dozens of messages I didn't read. At Seattle-Tacoma Airport baggage claim, my phone rang. I answered. You're back, she said coldly. Just landed. We need to talk about this Japan situation. Do we? You spent thousands of dollars on that trip. Money you could have saved. Money that could have gone to something practical. And for what? To prove a point. To celebrate my son, I said calmly. Who worked hard all year. Who earned his gift. Who didn't deserve to be punished for keeping what was his. You're spoiling him. I'm teaching him that effort has rewards. That he doesn't have to shrink himself to make others comfortable. That his mother has his back. Jennifer is very upset. Jennifer can be upset. That's not my problem. Silence on the line. The party you canceled, Mom continued. Jennifer said you'd planned to spend $15,000 on it. Roughly. And you spent that on Japan instead? Actually, the trip cost less because of my industry connections. But yes, I redirected that budget to something Marcus would remember forever instead of a backyard party he'd forget in 6 months. Your priorities are completely backward. My priorities are exactly where they should be. With my son. Don't expect us to support this kind of parenting. I've never expected your support, Mom. I've been doing this alone for 12 years. I'll continue just fine. I hung up. Marcus was watching me carefully. Is Grandma mad? Very, I said. Are you worried about that? He thought about it then shook his head. We had the best 2 weeks ever. If she can't be happy for me, that's her choice. That's exactly right, I smiled. Now let's go home. You have school in 2 days and probably a mountain of homework to make up. He groaned, smiling. 3 days later, a package arrived from the Park Hyatt Tokyo. Inside was a handwritten note from the general manager thanking me for my feedback, along with a voucher for a future 3-night stay. Also in the box was a framed photo of Marcus and me at the hotel, taken by their photographer on our last night. We were both laughing, Tokyo glittering behind us. I hung it in the living room where everyone could see it. Nobody from my family had visited since we got back. That was fine.